Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about the covert narcissist silent rage at you when they get caught out on their behaviour. As most narcissists, if not all narcissists, can act in covert ways as they try to hide their behaviour from those around them to avoid being exposed for what they are doing to others. And all narcissists will rage out in one form or another when they get caught out in their behaviour, when they fail to deliver on a promise and somebody questions them for why they've failed to deliver on that promise, when they've been caught out for exploiting another person, or when the narcissist has suffered some form of narcissistic injury, so they've had a dent to their ego, so they seek to hurt the person who they believe has betrayed them, and more often than not the person who the narcissist believe betrayed them didn't actually do anything to them. It's just the narcissist's take on things due to the narcissist's sense of entitlement, due to the narcissist's requirement as excessive attention. So they seek to punish people, but they don't want to be recognised for their behaviour. They want to avoid taking all form of responsibility and pass the blame over to somebody else. And some can do this in the more obvious ways. However, most do it rather subtly and will rage out at you in a quiet, covert way. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's much appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder, to give you more information of the people you might be dealing with in your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you overcome narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the video, please do subscribe. So when you try to communicate with a narcissist about something they have done or something they said they would do that they didn't do, they might try to rationalise it with you. They might try to use logical reasoning to justify their behaviour to you. They might try to direct the conversation on to you. They might accuse you of doing something to deflect away from what they have done. So if a narcissist felt envious that you weren't paying them enough attention, they might go and purposely flirt with somebody in front of you. And then when you call them out for flirting with somebody in front of you, because a narcissist is the self-entitled hypocrite, you're not allowed to speak to somebody else. However, they are. You're not allowed to call them out on this. However, they are. So if they feel like you ignored them, and you might have just been chatting to your best friend at an event, so they felt criticism because they felt you ignored them, so they will go and flirt with somebody. And then when you go and ask them about them flirting with somebody else, they're going to accuse you of being jealous. They're going to accuse you of having trust issues. So you find yourself defending yourself to them for what they have done to you, and they feel better because they believe you shouldn't have ignored them in the first place, even though you weren't ignoring them. Instead of just having a normal conversation and say, hey, I felt a little bit left out there, because they don't want to open up to their emotions and vulnerabilities. They're going to go all out to hurt you, distract you, and then blame you. Or they might distract you from the original topic of conversation. So if you go and say to them, hey, I thought you were a bit flirty with that person. Is there anything I perhaps need to know? Because it's not your character. You're not usually a flirtatious person. You'll know some people can have a flirty personality and it's who they are. It's when someone steps out of character that we start to question their character. When they haven't stepped out of character, they're just showing us who they can also be. but they'll just completely switch the topic of conversation onto you. They might rationalise it with a friend of theirs. Oh, did you know that so-and-so was going on holiday here? How would you fancy going there? Shall we do that next year? To get you completely off the issue that needs discussing and onto something where the narcissist can future fake with you to distract you from what needs resolving in the present moment. And when that future comes, they'll not deliver, they'll break that promise. And when you question them, they're going to come at you and say, well, if you hadn't have done this, perhaps we would have done that. Anything to get away with their behaviour and place the blame at your door. They might appeal to popular opinion to rationalise their behaviour. They might say that, well, everybody else is doing it, everybody else is saying it, well, science claims that this, even though they haven't actually looked up the evidence for themselves. They're just going to go with the opinion of the masses, so they don't have to look into any other possible reason for why they've behaved or why they've done whatever they have done to you. They're going to create an argument with you. However, they're going to do it in a way that makes out that you're the one that's created the argument with them. And you can feel like you've created the argument with them because you've gone to discuss something with them. And this is all to train you to no longer ask them any questions, because they feel entitled to do as they please. So this is to train you to no longer approach them, to let them get on with their life, no matter how much their behaviour affects or hurts you, because they lack the empathy to care. So when you go to discuss something with a narcissist, because there's never any closure on any situations, because nothing ever gets resolved with them, because they don't want to be exposed for their behaviour, because they're going to rationalise their behaviour away while causing that self-doubt within you. So when you go to discuss it with them, they're going to turn around to you and say, do we have to talk about this now? We were having such a good time and you've gone and ruined the whole day. Why do you have to bring this up now? You always want to argue, don't you? You can't ever just be happy. So before you even started the conversation, they've planted that doubt within your mind that it's you that's causing the issues within the relationship, to distract you from the fact that they won't discuss the issues within the relationship to resolve the issues within the relationship. Therefore, these issues keep coming up time and time again. They want to train you, they're to shut you down so that they can continue getting away with what they're doing to you. And with a narcissist, it's a slippery slope. You cannot win with them. And most of the time, when you're wanting to discuss something with someone, it's not about winning. It's about meeting a mutual understanding, an agreement, a compromise, agreeing to disagree. And because a narcissist is about winning, they are going to do all they can to get at you, to get you going, to provoke you, to bait you into an argument and then switch it so that they're blaming you. Not only are they blaming you, you're blaming yourself because they planted that seed of doubt within your mind that it's your fault. They go around in circular arguments. They deflect onto another topic of conversation or onto something you have done or someone else has done that's similar. They try to rationalise it. They give you those covert ultimatums of, well, if you really want to go out with that friend of yours, you know, for a while when you come in, they're not going to be talking to you. So if you go, you're going to feel bad for leaving. But if you don't go, you're going to feel bad for letting your friend down. And you can't explain this to a narcissist because they're not listening to you. They're listening at what they can use against you to hurt you. And they do this in their gaslighting. They will go and do something, and then when you ask them about it, they'll say, I told you last week, can't you remember? I think you might be losing your mind. You might need a mental evaluation. So that you're the one that's stood there thinking, did they tell me last week? I'm sure they didn't tell me. I know they didn't. No, you didn't tell me last week. Which is when they start rationalising and arguing. So you never get to the bottom of the situation. When the bottom of the situation is, you know they didn't tell you. They just don't want you to know that you know. When they've suffered some form of narcissistic injury, so they seek to take revenge on you, they seek to hurt you, they seek to get you back. So again, if you're at a event and you spoke to a birthday party and you spoke to the person whose birthday it is, and the narcissist took this as criticism because you weren't paying them sole attention, so they're going to flirt with somebody to try and hurt you, and then when you go and approach them, they're going to come at you and say, well, we were only joking, we were only having a mess around. You have trust issues, you're so insecure, why do you have to be so sensitive? Anything they can to hurt you while distracting you from the fact that they are causing your pain, which is that emotional side to it. They are going to rage out at you by using your emotions against you. That covert rage, the underhand way to get back at you because they felt criticism, because they feared exposure. This is when they're going to appeal to your emotions such as fear, consequences. If you don't do this, I will, or if you do, I'll. So there's always that slippery slope, that consequences, that if you go and do something, they're going to counteract it, and that counteraction is going to hurt you. They'll appeal to pity, they'll appeal to ridicule, they'll ridicule you in front of other people. They will use your biggest insecurity and they will use it against you in front of others in a way that you know what they're doing, but other people don't know what they're doing. Or they'll get everyone around you laughing at you on something that you don't find funny and then accuse you of not being able to take a joke, when in reality they're not able to understand how they're hurting you. And if they are able to understand how they're hurting you, if they're doing it on purpose, they lack the empathy to care for how they are hurting you. All they care about is getting one over on you. They're going to appeal to your emotions of guilt. They're going to shame you. They're going to blame you. They're going to get you to feel obligated into doing something for them. They're going to come at you and say, after all I've done for you, you're accusing me of this? So that again, that thought is planted in your mind that you're accusing them. That thought is planted in your mind that they're doing things for you. And this isn't a case of somebody that does a lot for you, that in theory, that give and take within a relationship. A narcissist only does for you so they can take, and they only do the bare minimum. And if all else fails, they'll go for those passive aggressive sulks and silent treatments to get at you without raging out at you. When it comes to a narcissist, they can say something to you and then wait for your response. And if they don't get the required response that they desire, they're going to keep pushing your buttons until they can get you to react and loudly rage out at them, scream at them, shout at them in sheer frustration, because you cannot get your point of view across. You cannot be understood by them. They're using what you're saying against you. So you lash out at them and then they stand back and act all calm and blame you. So they get away with what they're doing time and time again while you're forever feeling guilty. And by using your emotions against you, however you've reacted to them, they're going to make you feel guilty about it. So you end up trying your best to make it up to them for the very things they're actually doing to you, but finding many different ways to distract you. A narcissist wants to convince you that your emotional reactions to their actions are the problem, to distract you from the fact that without their actions, you wouldn't be having those problems. I shall link into the description the videos on how a narcissist might behave when they get caught out on their behaviour, narcissistic injury, narcissistic rage and fear, obligation and guilt, the narcissist gaslighting, and how narcissists justify their behaviour, to give you more in-depth information of what's spoken about within this video. If you're looking for further support, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link will also be in the description. If anyone has any thoughts on the video, please add those into the comments. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, when people try to bring you down, don't go with them. Instead, go out there, create the day that you deserve, to create the life that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing life.